Film Focus, Auto Theory and Marxist Theory. Film 1, Parasite 2019. Film 2, Gosford Park 2001. Film Topic, a comparative study on the characteristic style of filmmakers through an exploration of class struggle in Parasite and Gosford Park. The films that I have selected are appropriate as their distinctive approach to the theme of class divide under Marxist film theory can be linked by the common genres of drama and dark comedy. However, these two films are set almost a century apart by story and almost 2 decades by reality, allowing one to observe a cultural and a temporal discord and hence different decisions made by the two filmmakers in accordance to their respective social backgrounds. Through this comparative study, I aim to explore the filmic elements that the directors of Parasite and Gosford Park use in their films that define their characteristic style, alongside the implementation of Marxist film theory used to tackle the theme of class struggle. Cinema allows filmmakers to explore similar concepts and genres through generations, yet ensures that nothing remains in its static form and continues to be dynamic with contextual changes. These changes allow filmmakers to evolve their filmic techniques and create distinctive art. The auto theory argues that a director's artistic vision to be discernibly distinct with a level of individuality through recurring visual cues, hence deeming genres as irrelevant with the transcendence of genre specifics. The Marxist film theory is supposed to criticize and satirize the capitalist status quo while implementing certain concepts from Marxist ideology, for example, class consciousness. Filmmakers such as Pier Paolo Pasolini, Jean-Luc Godard, and Sergei Eisenstein can be seen as authors that explore cinema through Marxist lenses. Bong Joon-ho is a South Korean film director and screenwriter who is known for his use of unconventional style driven by rapidly shifting moods and tones to address socio-economic issues. This characteristic style leads to genre mixing for most of his films and allows him to use satire and black comedy to depict the tensions in the class system. The film Parasite can be a perfect summation of Bong Joon-ho's style, revolving around the class divide that was prevalent throughout his childhood. Furthermore, the characterization of the style becomes more evident in context of his filmography, consisting of Marxist films such as The Snowpiercer, The Host, and Okja. Robert Altman was a nonconformist director when it came to his style and themes both, allowing for his films to cover a range of genres. Although an element that was prominent in most of his films were the subversive twists that he'd exploit to implement satire in them. He was known to encourage improvisation on set, which is evident in the realistic nature of his film Gosford Park. While the conventions of drama films rely on protagonist-based plots, Altman was known for his affinity for an ensemble cast and his ability to skillfully tell a story with its intersecting plot lines and an unusual number of characters. His unique filmmaking style tells us about his ability to give a personal touch to the most common film genres. Conversely, Bong carefully manages the editing process with the influence of the Soviet film theory prevalent as he creates tonal montages in accordance with the narrative. In the first act, he uses a range of 60 shots to create a rhythmic montage that is set at a slower speed. He uses classical music, a traditionally bourgeois music genre, which adds a humorous tone to the deception of the parks. Bong uses differing tones to differentiate between locations. Unlike Bong, Altman uses warm tones throughout the film to maintain continuity alongside increased contrast and saturation, enhancing the luxurious royal feel that complements the elements of British heritage cinema present in the film. Altman explores the theme of class disparity by constantly intercutting between settings, allowing for easy comparison between the rich and the poor. He establishes the pace of the film by ensuring that the cuts between dialogue leave no space, representing a realist tendency. Altman's sound design had been coined as the democratization of sound, which was a method of sound design that interlaced two microphones' audio, creating a cacophony of dialogue, making the ambient noise more complex and establishing equal importance to characters. This also represents Marxist film theory, avoiding a single protagonist. Altman, in collaboration with the film's composer, works with creating a sound that is thematically incongruent to the visuals, as Altman intends on letting a viewer conclude the film independently. This is an autoristic tendency that Altman clearly displays through his usage of subtlety and inconclusions. Furthermore, the film relies on interdiegetic sound, which establishes a sense of realism, thus shrinking the suspension of disbelief. To the contrary, Bong uses diegetic sounds to metaphorically establish class disparity, with breezes and birds for the room tone in the rich neighborhood. Korean-style ambience, sounds of cars and noisy neighbors for the poor. While Bong may use sound in cinema much more conventionally by using mysterious tracks when introducing the park's home and deeply unsettling tracks when introducing the subterranean room, what sets Bong aside are the specific of textures. He pays attention to incremental sounds which are amplified to add a sense of symbolism. The meticulous use of cinematic space and shot composition is evident in Parasite. Dynamic shots and long takes are heavily used with linear camera movements to set the tempo for the montage. This is also evident in his other films. One can also notice this while looking at Gosford Park. The affinity for dynamic shots is evident, however, they are used to establish somber and mystery calling for a tinge of stability, whereas the dynamic shots in Parasite are to stimulate a sense of motion and progression, fitting the deceit that the family rapidly enlarges. Altman's usage of multi-camera system and a variety of lenses also creates a deeper sense of emotion and mystery. The usage of a telephoto lens is used to pack the frame. Bong as an author uses recurring motifs of leading lines, geometric lines, claustrophobic effects using suggestions, and high image density to highlight this divide. In Parasite, the parks mention a line, and this metaphorical line is a prevalent theme often represented through Bong's cinematography, where Bong even breaks the 180-degree rule to imply the breaking of that line. This motif explores the idea of class consciousness. This discord is also shown subtly through diegetic lighting. For example, inferior quality lamps in Keatak's home, having little to no diegetic lighting, in contrast with the park's house, which is well lit with warm tones. Delving into low-key lighting, Altman, on the other hand, represents the dark undertones of the murder by breaking British heritage film convention of well-lit scenes. He represents the darker historical implications of master-servant relationships and breaks genre conventions, solidifying his work as an author. Parasite uses visual motifs such as staircases and water, with a large amount of focus on its mise-en-scène elements. Bong achieves this through his unique way of storyboarding that integrate almost all major elements of his film in detail to create a desired look of a scene. He created a set structure that considered the character blocking beforehand, such that they could eavesdrop from or hide in certain places. While depicting characters in films, he shows a range of human emotions through flawed protagonists, aiming to represent reality. He quotes, "I think we become the most detailed and meticulous when we describe the people around us." This is reflective of the political upheaval in South Korea during his childhood, which affected its economic situation negatively. In contrast to Bong's recognizable symbolism, Altman produces writerly texts, as he considers the reader to be more than a consumer, but a producer of the text itself. Markers of anticipation that transpire through are the recurring zooms onto poison bottles and the disappearance of one of the knives. Altman believes that viewers are initially free to take a genre cue or leave it. This supports visual storytelling over traditional dialogue exposition, tying in with screen theory, which derived from the Marxist film theory. Altman's conscientious blocking is evident in the image density of his frames, not only with the use of obstruction, but his propensity to fill the frame with as many characters at a time as possible, reminding us that this takes place in one setting. Similarly, Bong familiarizes the audience with limited locations, yet using more than one to establish the class divide. Bong also chooses his blocking carefully and uses it to complement the themes in his filmography, such as the use of humans carrying out mechanical operations that gives a sense of dehumanizing them, hence portraying the way that the working class is usually treated under the bourgeoisie role. Most of these films have abrupt climaxes with no definite answer to the questions aimed at capitalist society. His scenarios are tense and play with a variety of genres, as he describes his favorite directing technique as having his movies rapidly shift style and mode several times within its duration. The individuality of style of the two filmmakers allows them to defy genre conventions independently, integrating social commentary. While both refuse the individual protagonist convention and implement Soviet montage theory to discuss class disparity, Bong uses visual metaphors through extensive storyboarding, whereas Altman experiments and improvises on set. The approaches towards cinematography shows their key differences. Where Bong might use an element to create suffocation, Altman uses the same to create a sense of unity. Although these filmmakers tackle class struggle, their ability to exploit cinematic techniques to explore the concept is what sets them aside as filmmakers. Therefore, Robert Altman and Bong Joon-ho are authors whose distinctive use of filmic elements varies due to their difference in cultural and temporal context. However, their Marxist lens and critique of capitalism is a deeper statement that shows us that the unifying factor for all cultures across time is class division.